So egg prices are skyrocketing right now, and it does not feel like they're dropping anytime soon. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? What if I told you you can cook egg-based recipes without the eggs? Today, we're gonna be making 3 recipes that normally have eggs in them, but we're gonna be making them eggless. We're going to be making a delicious chocolate chip cookie, followed by some fresh garlic mayo and a savory omelet. That's right, an eggless omelet. We're also going to talk about our 3 egg substitutes, but first, who am I? Well, my name is Xander Mason and I love to cook. It's something I've been doing for years now, and I would love to inspire you to try out my recipes. Now, without further delay, let's get to cooking. First, we're going to be making our eggless chocolate chip cookies. In a medium saucepan, you're going to throw down 1 stick of unsalted butter. Let that butter melt on medium heat and then continue to heat your butter until it starts to froth up and the milk solids start to brown in the bottom. Once it looks something like this, pour it into a container to cool, and now you have browned butter, which I would argue is required for any cookie recipe to taste amazing. From there, you're going to want to roughly chop 125 grams of dark chocolate. Once fully chopped, grab yourself a medium bowl and then pour in half a cup or 105 grams of white sugar, as well as half a cup or 105 grams of light brown sugar. Pour in our cooled brown butter, as well as 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste or vanilla extract. And now it's time for our egg substitute, which is a mixture of 3 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of oil, as well as 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Give that a thorough mixing and then pour it into your bowl. Now mix all of your ingredients together, and in another bowl, you're going to pour in 1 1/3 cups or 205 grams of all-purpose flour, followed by a half teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of salt, giving it a light mixing with a whisk. You're then going to pour in half of your flour mixture into your wet mixture until it's fully combined, and then pour in the rest of your flour mixture until your dough looks something like this. I'll next throw in 90% of our dark chocolate, setting a few large pieces aside for later. After mixing in our chocolate chips, you now have eggless cookie dough, which I'm not going to say you can eat this right now, but technically any risk of consuming raw eggs is not a problem. Now you could bake this right away, or you can leave it in your fridge overnight to let those flavors infuse and meld together. When you are ready to bake it, set your oven to 350 degrees bake, not convection bake. On a sheet pan, you're going to lay out some parchment paper, or you can use some oiled aluminum foil. With an ice cream scooper or a spoon, scoop out your dough and with your hands roll it into a small ball. If you want a normal size cookie, just do 1 scoop like I'm doing, but if you want a really big cookie, do 2. Once you have all your balls of dough laid out, we're going to place 2 to 3 pieces of chocolate chip on top of each ball, as well as giving them a light sprinkling of flaky salt. From there, you're going to throw them into your oven for 12 to 18 minutes, depending how gooey or crispy you want your cookies to be. I like them gooey, so I took them out at 12 minutes and let them cool for 8 minutes before I dug in. And look at this chocolate pool. That is one gorgeous looking cookie, but does it taste as good as it looks? I won't lie, this is my first time ever making cookies, and I honestly think I might have crushed it. So let's give it a try. Well, they're really good. Oh my god. I can't tell the difference if there's egg in this or not. I don't think the egg makes that big of a difference, honestly, in cookies. Next, we're gonna make some eggless garlic mayo, or if the word mayo triggers you, we're making garlic aioli. Preheat your oven to convection bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You're next going to grab a whole bulb of garlic, splitting it in half with your knife. Place your garlic on aluminum foil and give it a drizzle of olive oil, as well as a strong pinch of salt and a few cranks of black pepper. Close your aluminum foil up and be more careful not to rip it like I did, but close it up and then set it aside. Now grab another sheet of aluminum foil and then place a few sprigs of rosemary in it. Give it a squeeze of olive oil and then some salt and pepper before fully closing it up and making sure it's sealed. Throw both your rosemary and the garlic in the oven. The rosemary will only take 20 minutes, whereas the garlic will take 1 hour. I accidentally left my rosemary in there for 40 minutes. Great work, Xander. So don't do that unless you really like charred rosemary. But either way, I'm gonna grab 1 stem's worth of rosemary, and then at the 1 hour mark, you could see our garlic is nicely browned. If I give it a squeeze, you can see it's super soft and it kind of feels like room temperature butter, but even softer. And here's that same shot in slow motion because I know that doesn't look disturbing at all for any of you. Now let's talk about our egg substitute, which is going to be chickpea juice. Specifically the juice that comes in a can of chickpeas, which is often referred to as aquafaba. You're going to drain 1 can's worth of chickpeas, setting it aside, and now it's time to make our garlic mayo. In a high-sided container, throw in 45 grams of our egg substitute chickpea juice, followed by 1 stem's worth of roasted rosemary, 25 grams of roasted garlic, 10 grams of whole grain mustard, 12 grams of lemon juice, and lastly, a sprinkling of salt and pepper. Grab your immersion blender and give it a thorough blending. You're then going to slowly pour in 1 cup or 212 grams of vegetable oil. Don't do what I did here because there's a chance you might screw it up like I did. I tried mixing the ingredients too quickly and my mayo did not emulsify. Instead, do this. Pour in just a little bit of oil and then mix it until it fully emulsifies. Once it's emulsified, pour in batches and emulsify the rest until you've used up all your oil. This method of making mayo is a lot more consistent, and if you screw up the first time like me, you have to remake your roasted garlic, which will take a lot more time. So do it right the first time and learn from my mistakes. But either way, we have a super thick garlic aioli. Now I also threw in a few chives as well for color, but that's it. You now have a perfectly good, delicious garlic aioli. And you honestly could not tell the difference that there's no eggs in it. Now it's time for us to make an omelet, and I'm not lying when I'm saying that there are 0 eggs in this omelet. Now our egg substitute is something called split mung beans, or mung dal if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You're going to want to grab 2 cups of dried beans and wash them similar you would rice. After washing, you'll leave them soaking in water overnight in your fridge. The next morning, you're going to drain your mung beans and then throw them into a blender along with 2 teaspoons of onion powder and 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, followed by 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. You're going to pour in 2 2/3 cups of water, or 650 grams worth, and then give it a blending until everything is broken down nicely. But if you're unlucky like me, your blender will decide to break on you right in the moment. Dude, what's going on with my blender right now? Can I help you? Are you done? No stress though, I'll just pour it into a food processor instead and give it a blending there. Once blended, the consistency should look something like this. Pour that into a high-sided container, and this is your egg mixture, ready to use at a moment's notice. Now let's make an omelet with it. Pour in your egg mixture until there's a thin layer at the bottom of your pan. Now keep the heat to medium-high and then drop in whatever filling you want for your omelet. I'm using a quick, simple stir-fry of red and green bell peppers, followed by yellow onions and garlic that's been sauteed for 3 to 4 minutes. Now, once your egg mixture begins to stiffen up, you're gonna pour in a little bit of medium cheddar cheese, and then with your spatula, you're gonna try your best to carefully fold over your eggs. Take your time and really let your mixture cook long enough so it stiffens up a little bit. If you flip it too soon, it'll fall apart like it does here when I was testing this recipe. But once you've properly folded your omelet, place it on a plate and then rub a little bit of butter on top of it to give it a shine and sparkle. I'll also throw in a couple chives on top for aesthetic, and now that's your omelet. I'll split it in half and show you a beautiful cross section where you can see the cheese has nicely melted inside. All that's left to do is give this sucker a tasting and see how it compares. All right, we have an entirely eggless omelet. That's freaking crazy to me. Let me grab a fork and knife. There is 0 eggs in this, and it actually looks really, really good. And we also have eggless mayo, which I tasted this already. It tastes phenomenal. Now for the omelet. Okay, it's not bad. It's actually kind of good. It feels like an extra healthy omelet, if that makes sense. I'm gonna try some of the mayo with it. Oh yeah. Now don't get me wrong, eggs do taste better, but this is pennies on the dollar, significantly cheaper, and it doesn't taste bad at all. It actually tastes good. It just doesn't taste like eggs. I will say that. It does not taste like a 1-to-1 to eggs, but the texture and the look is very much like eggs. Look, I'm not lying for the video's sake. I'm honestly genuinely impressed at how good these taste. I mean, it's fully plant-based, so you know, if that word triggers you, be warned. But it's still really, really good. And again, to make this cost significantly less than a carton of this. So it's honestly not bad. I like it a lot. And there you have it, 3 eggless recipes that usually require eggs in them. I hope you enjoyed this video. It honestly was a lot of fun for me to make. Let me know in the comment section below what you think, and if you'd like to check out last week's video when I made a buffalo chicken dip pizza, here is the link. That recipe also didn't require any eggs. Either or, thank you so much for checking out this video and have a great rest of your day.